Have you been looking for a quick, easy to fix, warm, filling meal to have during emergency situations? Maybe during an SHTF, end of the world as we know it type situation? Well, good, because you're at the right place. I got just such a meal for you, and we're going to fix that today. Here's the finished product. We no longer have ramen noodles. We have chicken noodle soup. And welcome to the Chef Prepper channel and the Chef Prepper project. I'm glad you could join me. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're ready to get busy. And we're going to fix up some chicken noodle soup with ramen noodles. Sound good? You know, the time might come when you get tired of just boiled ramen noodles. And you can liven up your ramen noodles. And that is what we're going to do today. So let me show you the ingredients, the stove we're going to use, and then we'll get busy. All right, the main thing we're going to use today is ramen noodles, and these happen to be chicken flavored. We're also, for a little more flavoring, going to use some bouillon cubes. And to turn this into chicken noodle soup, we're going to put in some chicken. And of course, the water is from our Berkey filter that you've seen in some of our previous videos. So that's the ingredients. Now let me show you the stove. But before we go to the stove, let me ask you guys, do you all have a favorite recipe to use with your ramen noodles, other than just straightforward boiled ramen noodles? If you do, share it with us if you don't mind down in the comments. Now, ramen noodles could be fixed on just about any kind of a stove, or anything that you had a little bit of heat that you can boil water in. But today we're going to use a traditional rocket stove, do-it-yourself rocket stove made out of pavers or bricks. And we're using the standard size. This meal I'm going to fix today is going to be for me and maybe my wife. She might have some, I'm not sure. So as a result of that, we're using the smaller stove, the 4-inch opening. This kettle, about an 8-inch, 7-inch, 8-inch diameter kettle. But this meal, very basic recipe, you could scale it up as large as you wanted by using multiple packages of noodles, more water, more chicken. And instead of using the smaller stove, you could use the larger stove. And of course, you could use the larger kettle. And you would need something here to raise the kettle up a little bit, like I've got on this one. So you can see it'd be easy to scale up. Also, this is just a traditional concrete block rocket stove. Right here beside it is our fourth design. And it is, I'll show you this in more detail in upcoming videos, but this is a J-tube rocket stove. I'll explain the difference and show you in future videos. And I have a video in which I built these 4 rocket stoves. I will put a link to that in the comments. You can check that video out. And if you're interested in rocket stoves and cooking on rocket stoves, then be sure to subscribe, because we will be doing quite a few videos over the summer using each of these rocket stoves. Okay, the big question, I know you're wanting to know, you're waiting to ask, so I'll go ahead and answer the question. Why aren't we just simply opening and heating a can of chicken noodle soup or chicken and dumpling soup? Well, the answer is, this is a video about how to liven up or enhance your ramen noodles, not a video about particularly making chicken noodle soup, or in this case, chicken and dumplings. I didn't have a chicken and noodle soup can. I didn't have a can of chicken and noodle soup, so there you go. Don't have it, so we're making it. There is some of our fuel, just scrap pieces of wood, bark from cutting firewood, scrap pieces of wood, some packages from Amazon, paper, cardboard. That's what we're going to get our fire started with and use for fuel. And when I begin the fires in the rocket stoves, I feed it from the top, let it catch up. Then if I want to add more, I will move the kettle, skillet, or whatever, put more wood in, or put some in here in the traditional way. I did put one piece there so I can light it here. Like that one's been in the fire before, huh? So we'll pour most of that in here. Leave a little left. Put that on, bring it to a rolling boil. Of course, when the time comes you got to do this, you'll want to conserve as much of your fuel as possible. As many of you know, or all of you know, put a lid on there, it will boil much quicker. While we're waiting for the water to boil, I want to remind you that you could fix this on any kind of a stove. All you got to have is a flame that will heat the water. We have a video that gives you multiple options and meals for safe indoor cooking. We're outside today, but this could just as easily have been fixed or be fixed inside on a butane stove, sterno stove with the sterno fuel, or the sterno stove with the alcohol fuel. Speaking of the sterno stove, you guessed it, we got a couple videos using the sterno stove inside with sterno fuel and also with an alcohol stove. I will put a link to those videos down in the description, and I'd like to invite you to go check those out. All right, let's check it out. I forgot to bring my glove. So you can see we're ready to put the noodles in. All right, I did put the noodles in. I think I forgot to turn the camera on. Sorry about that. One of the drawbacks of a rocket stove is you have to keep monitoring it, which I didn't do too well. And so my flame has kind of died out. So I have to stoke it back up. We are still boiling, but by the way, I'd just like to have the flame a little bit bigger. And since we're not just having ramen noodles, we're going to have chicken noodle soup. We're going to put the chicken in the last couple of minutes while it's boiling. Because we don't want cold chicken with warm soup, right? All right, that's about half of that can. It's a 12-ounce can, so roughly 6 ounces of chicken from the can. All right, we should be just about done. So we are going to add in the chicken flavoring that came with the noodles and a chicken bouillon cube. We haven't used very much fuel at all, actually, and we have plenty of flame and fuel left to make a pot of coffee and a percolating coffee pot, to fry something else if you wanted, to make a second kettle of soup if you had a friend or neighbor who came by. Very efficient, very little fuel. I'm going to have to set it on there for a second, have a place to set it where you can see it. I put it back on the flame to get the bouillon cube to dispense out into the water. And there is the finished product. We no longer have ramen noodles. We have chicken noodle soup. Yeah, I know, it's still ramen noodles, but it looks much better, smells much better, and in a minute, when it cools off, I'll let you know if it tastes any better. All right, there is our ramen noodle made into chicken noodle soup. I forgot to bring a spoon or a fork, so what I have is the big mixing spoon, but it works. Yes, that's very good. If you like chicken noodle soup, you will really like this. So again, I will put the recipe, as simple as it is, down in the description below. If you like this video, consider subscribing, becoming a viewer, fixing it yourself, see what you think about it, and let me know in the comments if I found a good dish or not. So until I see you next time, shalom, peace to you and yours, and take care.